still has a bit of energy after such a fruitful day at the first day of the European Higher Education Fair. My name is Paulo from Campus France, and I will be showing you why France should be your next academic destination in Europe. So to get things started, I'd just like to let you guys know what Campus France really is. So Campus France is a government agency. You can think of us as an extension of the Embassy of France in the Philippines. And our objective is, in a nutshell, to be the companion of all future, current, and previous Filipino students in France. So from the moment we help you to choose your program and your school, to giving you advice for immigration and registration, looking for possible financial aid, getting set up even in France, and eventually as members of our alumni network, we are there for our Filipino students. So why should France be an ideal destination? Well, first of all, contrary to what a lot of people think, you do not need to be fluent in French to study in France. In fact, there are over 1,600 programs that are taught in English. Now, these are programs that can vary from short courses all the way to undergraduate degrees, master's degrees, and doctorates. And these programs are taught either partially or entirely in English. Then, of course, there's the ever so popular French art de vivre. If you're going to study in Europe, why not in France? Or better yet, why not in Paris? Or on the seaside of Marseille, in the lavender-laden mountains of Aix-en-Provence. So there's not just a very rich culture in France, but there is so much geographical variety as well. And of course, it is a gateway to Europe. So let's face it, you might be full-time students, but you still have weekends, you still have vacations, and say you want to enjoy a piece of Neapolitan pizza from Italy, or you want some raclette from Switzerland, mussels and fries from Belgium. These countries neighbor France in Europe, so if you're going to start somewhere, why not France? And then on a more objective note, we also bring to your attention the excellence of French higher educational institutions based on the QS World University Rankings for 2022. You have Agro Paritech, INSEAD for Business and Management. This is in the entirety of the globe, so INSEAD is the biggest name in business, well, second biggest. And then you have Sciences Po for its namesake in political sciences, Sorbonne University. Their mention here is classics and ancient history, but Sorbonne University, among others, is a multidisciplinary school. They have excellent training courses across multiple fields, be it humanities, arts and sciences, or hard sciences even. And you have the National Conservatory for Music and Dance in Paris for performing arts. A more updated list for this year includes the Times Higher Education ranking for the world. You have Paris Sciences et Lettres, or PSL, the already mentioned Sorbonne University, University Paris-Saclay, which is actually a network, a conglomeration of multiple universities, and the Polytechnic Institute of Paris. So these schools, these universities rather, I would like to specify that the fact that they are universities makes them more accessible to international students, and they also offer a multitude of programs with academic consistency. You have benefits for students, which includes healthcare coverage up to 70% of your medical insurance. It's mandatory, and it provides COVID coverage. Say you want to get a booster shot or you want to get a COVID test, that is all taken care of, subsidized by the government. And this 70% subsidy is completed by an optional 30% of what we call a mutuelle, or what is essentially a private health coverage. And you also have social programs for students, assistance for lodging, for example, the CRUS network, or the CAF, what we call the Caisse d'Allocation Familiale, which aims to provide less privileged international students access to cheaper accommodations, or even something as simple as a deposit for rentals that would be necessary for your lodging. And there are also student rates for transportation, food, amenities. There are discounts for students at cinemas, in museums, and for cultural activities. This is a simple table that shows an estimation of how much things cost in France. Now, keep in mind that these estimations were made prior to the fuel crisis of this year, so these might not be as accurate. But you can see here that it's true what they say about Paris. It is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Nonetheless, there are certain advantages that a student has that enables life to be easier as a student in Paris. I already mentioned the accommodation for students. There is also a cruise student meal, which equates to 3 euros, less than 200 pesos. And there is also a discount for transportation passes. Now, something that we were focusing on just quite recently is the opportunity for continued learning or lifelong learning, what we call the formation continue in France. What this essentially is say you have an incomplete diploma, be it undergraduate or a master's degree, and you have taken a professional activity after the interruption of your studies. There is a program in France that would allow students, regardless of nationality and age, to convert this experience, be it extracurricular or academic, into university units. There is a catch. You need to be fluent in French, which means CEFRB2 at the very least. And you need to have worked for at least 2 years after the last time that you did your studies. And this is done on a case-to-case basis by each French higher educational institution. So to give you an example, we have a profile. Keep in mind, this is not a made-up person. We're just not revealing their identity. So this person obtained their high school diploma in 2008. From 2011 onwards, until the present actually, they worked as a French language professor. And in 2018, they obtained the DIFLE certification, which means that they are officially trained to be an evaluator of French certifications. And what that equates to is 3 years of undergraduate studies, meaning he ended his formal education at high school, but when he resumed his studies, all this professional experience equated to 3 years of undergraduate degree. Now keep in mind, he didn't receive an undergraduate diploma, rather he received direct access to the first year of his master's degree in language didactics. And we have a second example who had his high school diploma in 2004, and between 2004 and 2011, he was doing mostly odd jobs in customer service. Until 2011 to 2013, he started working in civil service with an NGO in France. And in 2014, he immigrated to the Philippines to work under the same NGO, but under a foreign posting. And that gave him 2 years of undergraduate accreditation. So he was able to proceed to the last year of undergraduate studies. So you can notice just here that it's not really the amount of time you spent working, but rather the relevance of what your experience is in relation to what you're going to pursue for your studies. And now for our financial assistance programs, I would like to play a short video that would highlight what opportunities we have in store for Filipino students. It's more interesting with the audio, I promise. All right, so from that video, we highlighted 3 scholarship programs, and the first 2 are scholarships that we offer under the PhilFrance label. The PhilFrance Scholarship was started 6 years ago, and it's divided into the PhilFrance, or what we call the PhilFrance Master, and the PhilFrance DOST. So for the PhilFrance Master Scholarship, it is quite the comprehensive scholarship, meaning the entirety of your enrollment fee will be covered unless you are applying in a private school, in which case the coverage will be capped at 5,000 euros. There is also a monthly stipend of 700 euros, as well as a one-time moving allowance of 700 euros. And of course, it won't be complete without the security coverage that is quite comprehensive. Student service priority, which includes priority for student accommodations, as it's on a first-come, first-served basis, as well as round-trip economy airfare. And we have the PhilFrance DOST, which is more niche, but the catch is you have to apply to a public university or a public research institution. Now, the good thing about the PhilFrance DOST is that both applicants from master's and doctorate degrees are eligible. And as long as it's anything that falls under the category of hard sciences, you are eligible to the PhilFrance DOST. Now, it's pretty much the same, but the difference is that the round-trip economy airfare and the monthly stipend are to be shouldered by our partner, the Department of Science and Technology. And the third of the highlighted programs is the Eiffel Excellence program. Now, this is a very competitive international scholarship application. And the unique thing about the Eiffel Excellence program is it's not a Campus France nor the embassy who will receive the applications directly. Rather, the moment you make your application in your school, you'll have to specify explicitly that you are interested in applying for the Eiffel Excellence program, where your chosen school will then give you the requirements to provide and the procedure to follow. Now, this is very competitive, as I say. It's merit-based, so this is more academically based, meaning your grades and your performance in school, compared to the two other programs. It's not to say that we do not take academic excellence into account, but the Eiffel Excellence program does more so. And applications are actually ongoing until January 10, 2023. So if you need more information, it starts with finding the right school and finding the program for you. If you need any assistance or if you have questions, feel free to contact Campus France or to jump by our booth tomorrow morning. So now that you've discovered all these reasons, how do you get started with your journey as an international student in France? Well, I mentioned that you need to apply for a school and a program first, and at the very least, you need to be pre-registered before you can start your visa application. Now, keep in mind that you can apply for your visa as early as 90 days or around 3 months prior to your departure. And it usually takes around 2 to 3 working weeks. Well, in actuality, with the current season, it should take 3 to 4 working weeks to complete the visa if everything is favorable. We also have a slew of online catalogs that you can browse. We have a catalog specialized for art programs such as architecture, fashion, design. There are catalogs also for programs that are taught in English, as I brushed upon. And there is also a catalog for training courses that are completely done remotely. And there are other catalogs that aren't listed here, but there is also one for undergraduate degrees, master's degrees, doctorate programs, short programs. Feel free to approach Campus France to gain access to all of these resources. And another catalog is the Campus Bourse. Now, in addition to the scholarships that we offer here locally and the Eiffel Excellence program, there is, of course, no shortage of programs and financial aid offered by institutions in France. Now, these can range from one-time stipends of 1,000 or 1,500 euros all the way to percentages slashed off from the enrollment fee or even a complete subsidy of your studies. Everything is available on the Campus Bourse catalog. But since this is an internationally available resource, keep in mind that there's going to be a lot more concurrence with the scholarships compared to the more locally offered scholarships. And clocking in at just above 13 minutes, I would like to thank you for your time tonight. And these are the resources, the links to the resources that I mentioned a while ago. And if that will be all, then I will be taking some questions. All right then. Thank you everyone. Merci beaucoup and have a pleasant rest of the evening.